Hey, everybody. What's happening? What's going on? What are you doing? Dan Schinder here on Yesshift with
Steven Schinder.
And our guest, Mike Tiano. Again! Now I'm not sure who's getting hazed, him or us. It's the third time we're having Mike on. Mike, thanks for joining us. We're excited to talk to you about a few things. One, we're still carrying on the celebration of 50 years of Close to the Edge. Excited to talk to you about it from way back then. And of course, your own projects. Let's first invite the viewers and listeners to go ahead and comment on everything that we talk about throughout the show, even if you're not watching live and you're watching on the archive. And if you're just listening to the podcast audio version, follow along and contemplate these questions. Steve, why don't you kick it off? I know we're going to start with Close to the Edge. Mike was there.
Yeah, so am I correct in remembering that that's your favorite Yes album, Mike? Because I know you wrote the essay that's in the expanded, remastered version from a while back, right? So what was that like listening to it for the first time?
Oh, wow. I was a pretty hardcore Yes fan by then. I bought all the previous four albums, and I was kind of a fan who I call the radio store every day. Do you have Led Zeppelin 4 yet? Have Led Zeppelin 4? I call every day. And then when I did the same with Close to the Edge, so the day came out, I ran out and bought it, and I remember bringing it back and first time, you're kind of getting everything, so you're not really grokking it all at first. But I think it was the second or third time that was it just really floored me. It really did, because I knew where Yes were coming from, and I knew what to expect. But this was altogether something different.
Leaps away, right? Leaps forward.
Yeah. And to this day, I think it's my favorite Yes album because there's so much that works on it, so much that speaks to me, and kind of a accumulation of coming to that point and then getting that album and then listening to it, and then it was on subsequent listenings, I'd find myself sobbing up at the very conclusion of The Hill We View, The Silence of the Valley, and it just floored me. I don't remember ever crying when I listened to an album,
Yeah.
And it was
What do you think?
it was blowing, but it just moved me.
Was it more the words at that point, or the music, or the whole conjecture of everything and the key? And what was it?
It was actually all that. I mean, it was the production, the way it was presented, the fact that you're presented with these melodies, and if you think about it, the first time John sings that first portion of that repeated movement, he's singing it alone. But here it's in harmony with the others, and it's really broad, and the lyrics too, like you say, Dan. It's on the hill we view the silence of the valley, and you feel like you're on a hill viewing the silence of a valley.
Yeah,
it was just John's lyrics were just perfect there. John and Steve, or whoever actually wrote those specific lyrics, and just the way it's just built. I mean, so whereas it was just kind of a straightforward rock band the first time, and great production even before, just you heard everything really clearly, and that was kind of the goal of producing my album. I want to make sure that all the parts were heard as clearly as I would say it on Close to the Edge. But here, it's just they just went full stop with the orchestration and just the way the instrumentation was, and the lyrics and the singing, and it just hit a zenith that I'd never experienced before.
And if you don't mind me asking, Mike, for context, how old were you, and what was going on in your life as far as, were you playing guitar yet? What other bands were you listening to? Kind of contextualize it a little bit more.
Okay, sure. Let's see, it was 72, so I was just about to turn 20.
Okay.
No, 72. I was just about to turn 19. It was 72. because I was born in '53. So I was just about to turn 19. So I was still 18 at the time, and my musical history is kind of a mixed bag because at one time I really didn't care for bands that had to hit the notes right on top. In fact, I remember having a conversation with someone about Jeff Tull saying, "Well, I'm not really into those bands that we have to da 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 we're hitting it out." I was more into like Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, were really one of my favorites. The On Tour album with Eric Clapton and Dave Mason, I believe George Harrison is on it, and that was that same tour that Steve Howe was supporting somebody. I can't remember the artist's name. And they asked him to come on stage with them, Clapton and Harrison, and it's like Steve was like, "No, I'm not quite there yet." But it was like Delaney and Bonnie and Friends and Leon Russell and those types of I know. And Jimi Hendrix. I was listening to that type of stuff. But when the Beatles broke up, I was searching for other bands, and I liked Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was my main band at one point, but I was kind of getting tired of their blues-based approach. And that's when really Yes came, and they had it all: the instrumentation, they could play, and people forget, or people, the younger generation don't know about when we were growing up, Dan. It's that basically, it was okay to play. It was okay to kind of stretch out. One of my favorite pieces is "Who Do You Love?" the live version by Quicksilver Messenger Service. Yeah, I mean that is just an awesome piece of music. And it was okay to just stretch out and play like Hendrix did. And now it's like people think, oh, it's just noodling, just when's it going to stop, But for us, being an accomplished musician and being able to play something that spoke to people was okay. So Yes brought together the vocals and the instrumentation part. And so Crosby, Stills, Nash were another big favorite of mine. I mentioned Jimi Hendrix, Jefferson Airplane, The Who I was really big on. So a lot of those really vocal-based British bands of the day. That's what I was into. To answer your question completely?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we'll get back to Close to the Edge in a minute, and this is sort of part of that conversation to contextualize it, but I'm showing the wonderful screenshots that you sent us from your video that show you with the different influences, and I'm going to toggle backwards through them. There's Rush with Mike, and there's Zepp, Jimi Hendrix, of course. These are really neat. The Beatles, I think they'll do well. And
they passed the audition.
Then he's got everybody from the Four Seasons to the Beach Boys.
Yeah, and I like the art style of these.
Yeah, it's done really well. And we'll get back to Mike's stuff too. So did people in your immediate circle at the time relate to it the way you did? Like, was it a shared thing, or did people think you're weird, or what went on there?
Be honest with you, not really. In fact, Cindy, who's my wife now, she saw Yes open for Jay Giles and 10 years after, and she told me at the time she didn't care for them at all. She didn't care for Yes at all.
And what tour would that have been?
The 10 years after tour. So it was probably one of the last ones with Bill Bruford here in the States. I was really, really fanatical. We'd have a party, and I played Close to the Edge. People say, "Why are you playing that? Play something we could dance to." And I was like, "No,
you could dance to Close to the Edge."
I'm playing Close to the Edge.
Yeah, I've personally danced to Close to the Edge, like in the park in the middle of my college campus a few years ago.
Yeah, security thought he was on acid, actually, because he had earbuds in and he's just twirling around.
Right. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. So you saw the tour for Close to the Edge, right? Was it the Long Beach show, or was it a different place?
So the tour for Close to the Edge I saw at the Forum, the Los Angeles Forum.
Oh,
that was the only place in Los Angeles they played it, and I was really looking forward to Close to the Edge. And in fact, during the I Get Up, I Get Down, I thought they were going to end it at first. I thought, oh, it's probably too long. I'll probably just end it here. But no, but it went on. And then when it came to the big climax, it was like 5 beats. I went, wait a second, this isn't right. And But it was so different, and I still enjoyed it. But at the time, I didn't know enough to think about, or know well enough musically to think about. That's not the same key. I didn't think about that. It wasn't until I heard Yes songs and subsequent tours that I noticed that. Wait a second, the key, not only is the key different, but they're singing it differently. I mean, the melody lines are changing along with the key change.
Yeah.
And that's why I made such a big deal about it. I mean, in fact, I called it out like early on the Facebook Notes from the Edge page. They used to have a section where you can actually have like notes or a separate section, like a separate discussion section. And I said, what do you guys think about this? And a lot of people said, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the Coda on the album was just, hit home to me the same way that to you. I was like, yes, it's music. They can do whatever the hell they want with it, So, but most people were of the same opinion about the Coda.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so, who opened for them? Oh, because there's always an opening act. I want to say Stillwater, but I think that was a fictional band and Almost Famous. But it was some jam band, some boogie band like that. I wish I could remember now. But
how different was it to get familiar with the album, listen to it, and then go see them, and the way it changed with Alan White's drumming, a whole different energy to it? Was it too weird that it gave you pause, or was it even like a next level sort of, wow, this is really a whole other energy, different but still great? Like what can you talk about that? Because I went backwards.
Yeah.
When I was young, I bought it a year after it came out, maybe, so I would have been 10 or 11. And I bought Yes songs and Close to the Edge at the same time. I have my original Close to the Edge right here. But I listened to Yes songs first and got familiar with it. Then I put this on and went, what the hell? Like, all three songs sound so different. What was it for you going the other way that a normal person would do, going from, not that you're normal, but you know what I mean, going from the studio album first to then seeing them do the Alan White version,
Yeah, good question. I documented this on my essay on The Word is Live. They gave me a little section to talk about my experience first seeing Yes in concert. And actually, I had written something for Notes from the Edge, and I said, is this really the kind of thing you want? They said, yeah, that's like exactly the kind of thing you want. So I actually took what I wrote for Notes from the Edge and kind of edited it to make it more full featured. And I saw the Long Beach Arena in 1972, and I was expecting Bill Bruford. Expecting my Yes, the Yes I was exposed to. And I was about halfway back in the venue. It was, largest type of venue. It wasn't the biggest.
You mean the Forum, right?
But, no, Long Beach Arena. I'm talking about the tour before.
Got it.
Well, the 1972 tour.
Was it long for Fragile?
Well, actually, it was pretty close to the Edge. They hadn't released it yet, but they were about to release it. So halfway back in the Long Beach Arena, and I'm looking, I'm saying, the drummer's got straight hair. I don't think Bill Bruford had a perm, and he decided not to get one for this gig, something. And it was playing different. And then John would say, I'd like to introduce our new drummer, Alan White. And at first my heart sank because I knew I missed my chance to see Bill Bruford with Yes. And I'd see you later with ABWH. So that kind of tempered it, but it wasn't the same because I was here expecting that Yes.
Yeah.
And it was Alan White. But at the same time, as you know, I was a huge Beatles fan. So I thought,
you knew him.
He played with John Lennon and George Harrison. They have someone played with actual Beatles in their band. So that kind of excited me. That kind of tempered it. But somebody never heard it. I probably thought, oh my God, what are they doing?
Right. But he had a very good pedigree.
But going forward, to kind of get to your initial question, Dan, is basically it was a little different. I mean, Tales of Topographic Oceans, which I love the album, but I thought there were some things that Alan could have been a little more creative on. It's like during ritual, that big build up before the big drum solo. It's like bang, 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 crash, bang, 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 crash, bang, 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 crash. I thought, could have been a little more creative about that. I mean, like the rest of the band is like going for it, doing these really, really intense lines. And Al just went bang, 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 crash. But, I guess he wanted to kind of ground at that point. And for that reason, it works. But I was kind of concerned about Alan after Topographic Oceans, about his role in the band. I enjoyed what he did, but he didn't bring the same vibrancy that Bill Bruford brought to it. And I thought with Relayer, which followed Topographic Oceans, I thought he was finally getting it, because Alan's just intense on the Relayer. I guess he saw that I better bring my A game to this, because you have all these A game musicians, and he was a good musician, but he didn't have a distinctive flavor like Chris did, or Steve did, or Rick did, or even John with his vocals. So I thought Relayer, he really came to the fore, and he kind of dialed it back for going for the one and going forward. But I thought by that time he was totally a part of the band. He was just a session drummer they hired just to play the parts. So I thought by that time I totally accepted Alan in the band.
I think his drumming's excellent on it, but it is different for two reasons. One, his style's completely different. No one plays like Bill. And he had 3 days to not just learn the album, but learn the whole show. I can only imagine, wow, no pressure, right? Yeah. That's just crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. It must have really been neat to see them back then.
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, I sent you that article I wrote about seeing Pink Floyd, or seeing Pink Floyd do The Wall. Yeah. I don't know if you guys read that.
Yeah.
But I went to a whole ton of shows. It's like, after I missed Jimi Hendrix that first time, I thought, I don't have tickets. I'll catch you next time. And of course, there wasn't a next time.
Right.
I made a point. Every tour of every band, I would go to it. Genesis, Emerson, like Palmer, Traffic. I saw a lot. I like Traffic a lot.
Cool.
So many to mention here, but I made a point of all the major shows. And if you were a young adult or alive during the 70s, and you were a big rock fan, you had to go to all those shows. I mean, and I'm glad I did now. I have lots of great memories.
Yeah,
and I got to see it back in the day. So in other words, when Brain Salad Surgery came out, I would see people actually play that.
That's awesome.
When Trick of the Tail came out, I went to actually see Genesis play that stuff with Bill Bruford.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know if you guys talked to Bruford about this, playing with Genesis, but
yeah.
It was. I saw some other interview where he said, Mike Rutherford was saying, you missed that drum fill right there from the album. But the thing is, if you hire Bill Bruford, you hire Bill Bruford. You're not hiring a second drummer just to play the parts, Yeah. I mean, so when I saw them in Toronto, I think on 2 nights, at Maple Leaf Gardens, and Genesis was Bill Bruford, and I loved it. I mean, I didn't think, Bill missed that drum fill there.
Right. And his book is great, too. His book is so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just such a great storyteller, and it's just a great journal of his life, really. Not just music, but so much more. Let's talk about your stuff. I know that Steve's been studying up on that a lot as well. Steve, do you have a kickoff question for Mike regarding his current project?
So how long did it take to make the music video for your song Triad from your Creétisvan album?
I started like a couple of years ago. I was working with some guys, and we were going to do the green screen thing, and then I had some medical problems, so I kind of severed ties with them. So I had all this green screen stuff, and so I went to a friend of mine, Paul Racy. Paul Racy runs a video company now, but I knew Paul from working at Microsoft. He was like AV department back in the day. It was pretty cool because I'd say, hey, let's get what was called the Cascade Room at Microsoft campus. It was a really small campus, and we'll have a Yes Fest. And so I brought Queens Park Rangers album with Patrick Moraz doing the laser stuff, and he played laser disc. I tacked up all my T-shirts on the wall, and Paul was really instrumental as far as that goes. And I stay in contact with him, and I said, hey, how do you like to help me with this stuff? He pointed me to a guy named David Bialik, and I told David, look, I just need to have all my green sheets arranged to where I'll have somebody else fill in the backgrounds. And I think it was Paul was pointing me to Karina Bakke with her own company, Rockstar Productions, I think is what it's called. And I worked with her as far as filling backgrounds. And I had some problems with my first video guys because they were supposedly professional. I really didn't think they were up to snuff.
Yeah.
But this woman, Karina, just a total joy to work with. And I'd say, here's what I want to do. And one of my ideas was I'd be playing alongside my heroes. I mean, what I really would have liked to have done was got video of like the Grateful Dead. It may look like I was standing stage of the Grateful Dead, but it would have been A, too cost prohibitive, and B, I had to deal with copyrights.
Yeah, the licensing and everything.
Yeah. That's why I have artistic renditions, because I can use those and not infringe on anybody's copyright as far as that goes. So so I took about maybe it was over the course of 2 years, but it didn't take full 2 years. Is that I had the green screen stuff. I kind of sat on it for a while, and then I found the other people to help me put it together. So I hope that answers your question, Steve.
Yeah, and I'm going to do an experiment. A few minutes ago, something happened with my computer and all my folders went away and a browser window. I had your video queued up. So I texted Steve and I said, I don't know if I can show the video, put it in the comments, but I grabbed the link, I think, and I'm going to hit enter. And if it shows in this other window I have, I'm just going to slide it in front of us so that the audience can see it. So hopefully we'll find out together if this will work. If you do hear the video start to play, we don't want to talk because we'll be talking over it. So let's see what happens.
Got it. Okay. I keep looking away here because I'm looking at my other monitor, watching what you're doing.
Okay.
So.
Let's
just so people know, I'm not saying I'm not playing solitaire over here.
Let's see what happens. Here we go.
Okay.
3,
sure.
2, 1.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, I want to say yes. And I think it's going to work. I think it's going to play a commercial. What the hell is this? Hold on. Someone that knows what they're doing will be right with you. This looks weird. Let me see what's going on here.
We're broadcasting live, folks.
Yeah, this has never happened where my computer did this right in the middle of a... Okay, so that's not the link. Hold on one sec. I'm going to grab it. Just because we don't want you folks to... Oh, I see why. Bail on us while I grabbed the wrong link. That's why. While we're doing this, we want to show you some of this first. Here it comes. Oh, this might not work either. Here we go. Here's Mike Tiano with his awesome video that we've been talking about. Check this out.
Okay, great, cool.
As long as I remember, a radio was on. When came the right melody, I flew and I was gone. It was nothing conscious when I was still too young, but musically I came of age. Flames were fanned, the fires raged. I heard John Lennon singing, that voice had touched my soul. And then on some visceral plane, that became my goal. It's not always smooth sailing through rising waves of doubt. They'll tell you don't rock the boat. Hold your seas, chance to glow. They hope you'll sink instead of float. Melt this ice away. Cause you're here to stay. Should I take the next step? It could bring me some pain. I've seen too many have to play the fiddles in the rain. And while I'm hesitating, a bird sings in my ear. Do your thing, do it now, and don't stop to question how you'll make it through your final vow. Ease my fears away, because you're here to stay. Foresee confidence empower me, but now I find that I can love equally and the same. Triad, you are now my choice. Hear the sound, carry my voice. I won't throw away the years. The music moving to my ears. I'll find you through it. Primal fear.
We're gonna make them watch the rest on YouTube. Great job on the production. It looks like so much work went into that. I've been a video guy for 22 years, and I found the production fascinating. Great job on that. And green screen back in my day, green screen was nowhere near as easy to work with as it is now. But still, that's still a lot of work to make that look like that. And like Steve said earlier, the art direction, animations, and stuff are fantastic.
Yeah. So credit again, David Bialik, for putting me in the right places at the right times, and for Creétisvan for actually coming up with the backgrounds. I gave her ideas as to what to use for the actually artist depictions. In fact, you look at the one for Yes. It's a composite because I showed Chris with a treble bass. He never played that with Bill Bruford. I showed Bill Bruford because I want to show the version.
Well,
of
it could be sort of taken from Union. The other guys are just out of the picture.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
There you go.
Yeah, and in Triad, I always liked that lyric musically, I came of age, because we've all been there where we discover the music that's for us and we feel like we've unlocked, the portal into another place. That's like our place,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good lyric. So what? Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so what? Do you have something planned that isn't out yet that you can talk about?
I have tracks that didn't actually make the final album. In fact, I have one track that's probably my most progressive song, a very, very Genesis inspired, called Take a Chance. And it's kind of a long, involved song. It has like a preface. I really wanted that song to be on the album, but I reached a point to where I didn't have the right players for it. And to include that song, I would have had taken more time than I had. I only taken years to produce this album, and I didn't want like another year to drag on just to get this one song. Because I had to get the right players for it and the right production, because it had to be just right. I didn't want to just get folks just play on it just for the hell of playing on it, just to get it out there. And I do have a few others that I do want to get out there. I have one that I think a lot of people would like, called Seas of Time, that some of my older fans, if I have older fans, will remember. And so I'm kind of revving up to do that. I'll probably have to do a lot of it here on my own computer. As far as another album goes, we'll have to see about that. I may just get some individual songs out, because I don't have a band, and I need to get the right people to play with. So to answer your question, I do have things in the pipeline. I do have other songs. Cool. These aren't just the only songs. They're like kind of, I want to say the cream of the crop, but I have some other cool songs too. So
very cool.
Hopefully they'll see the light of day before I expire.
Hopefully that won't be
before I reach my expiration date.
Hopefully that won't be for a very long time.
Right. And I've put your Something Else Reviews article in the comments, but for those who haven't read it yet, how long was the process of gathering info on doing all your research on the key change, and like, how long was this fascination like sort of in the works, and were you like, oh, I gotta write about this thing?
I always thought it was a topic that really hadn't been properly discussed, and so
was it taboo? Was it taboo, Mike? Is that why? Or?
No, it wasn't taboo. I mean, I don't think it was taboo. It was just that no one really thought much about it. It was kind of like Eddie Offord said, "Why do you care?" So basically, but I cared, and I know a lot of people cared.
Yeah,
so
worthy.
I started to compile it in 2017. That's where I actually got some of those interviews, like with John and Rick, and then I set aside for other things. And I thought, I just want to wait for the 50th anniversary of the album. That way, it'll be timely. It's not just me throwing it out there. So at that point, I got interviews with Rick, John, and Alan. Steve wouldn't respond to my request. Chris had already passed away by the time I wanted to talk to him. And I got a hold of Eddie Offord too. Eddie Offord, I talked about that at about that time as well. And that was great because I never talked to Eddie at Hall before. So I thought 50th anniversary, I thought, okay, it's here. So I kind of pulled it all together. And at first I kind of ended up with the article where I talked about John performing Close to the Edge with the kids.
Yeah.
And then I had a little time left before my editor, Nick Teresa, was going to actually post it to something else review. So I thought, I think I can come up with a better ending. So I thought, why don't I just talk about the fact that why do I care? So that's why I ended it with that portion of the article. And so I talked about that. Because I know there's at least one guy out there keeps bugging me. Well, who cares? I don't care. Why do you care? I don't care. Like the world revolved around him. But lots of other people are like, they did not dislike what Yes did live, but they responded pretty much the same way I did from hearing the climax to Close to the Edge. It was like because of the keys. And I even asked Rick. I said, "Do you think if you recorded it in the lower key, it would have been as effective?" And he said, "No, it wouldn't have been as effective at all."
Interesting.
So maybe they were having problems when they recorded it, but they thought this is the right thing to do, and it's a recording. So they want to change it live, they could change it live.
Yeah.
So I was surprised when I heard that Yes, the current version of Yes, we're actually going to play it in the original key. But I guess it makes sense because John was one of those preventing him from doing it. And they're saying, I had a time singing it. It was too high. It was too high.
I can't imagine that, though, to be honest with you, because I heard some newish stuff that Steve sent me. He's going to be 78, and his voice was amazing. So I wonder, two things. I'm just throwing it out there. Two things. I wonder if it piqued their interest because you brought it up and kind of brought it to the forefront. And they said, yeah, why don't we do that? That's number one. Number two, the guy that was hounding you over and over and over, maybe that was Eddie Offord's pseudonym on Facebook.
No. Eddie wasn't quite that bad about it.
I'm teasing.
Let's face it, if he was just like, I'm not going to talk to you about this. I don't care. But right. I would love to take credit for that for John, maybe Yes, doing that. I don't think I can. They probably just thought about it and said, what can we do for this 50th anniversary? And as far as John goes, you think about it, I think John's singing better than he ever has.
I agree. I played some for my wife the other night. Steve, what's the latest thing you sent me?
Was it a Paul Green Rock Academy thing?
No, the other one by himself with that video I was commenting about.
Oh, yeah, I think it was like one of those, like, was it Open? Like, that was from several years back, but I think you listened to that. Or maybe it was Opus.
Yeah, it was both of those. And I played it for my wife, and she was just blown away. I see he sounds 20 years old. And she said, could they have messed with his voice? I said, well, you have to have magic to start with, first of all. And I said, there's no pitch correction. There's maybe some EQ, but that in essence, that's his voice. You can't change someone's voice. And his timbre, it all sounds so young. And I even explained to her, he smoked for years when he was younger. I think he just has that gift that somehow he got past what his challenges were physically, and he just sounds amazing. I agree with you, Mike. I would love to hear him. Well, he is with the kids. I was going to say I'd love to hear him re-record a bunch of the stuff with his today voice as a older gentleman. He just sounds amazing. He really does.
Fascinating. I think part of that is the fact that I obviously he's a great writer, but singing is his thing.
Yeah,
and he's just been singing all these years. I don't think there's probably been a time where he hasn't been singing. And you look at some of the other greats from his generation, Robert Plant, Roger Daltrey, they can't cut it as much as they used to.
Not
they
the
have
same
to
way. Yeah.
They have to lower keys. Not to say Yes hasn't lowered keys. I know they did for going for the one on the Inflatables tour, but I think John.
Inflatables tour.
It's just like I think it was kind of like playing an instrument. The more you do it, the better you get. And John just kind of fine-tuned his voice.
I think he's taking better care of himself too. He hasn't smoked in years.
True.
He's not around the smoke machines that gave him that reaction. He had the asthma and all. You compound all of that, and no wonder he's probably slid backwards to a degree. But then years of not being around that and not smoking and taking better care of himself. Here's this voice. Yeah. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, and I like that for your article, you also included YouTube links to what's available on YouTube of the Close to the Edge demo and live shows back from way back then, and on John's recent tour with the kids. So it's always great to have something visual and audio that people can refer to while reading this. So kudos on all that.
Yeah. I'm glad people responded to it. I think it's one of my best articles. I mean,
that's great.
It was really kind of a bear to write because I wanted to talk about the structure, but I didn't want to get into the weeds. I wasn't talking only to musicians. So it's like, this is an F and this is a C, and when I first started writing the article, I really got into the weeds as far as talking about the mechanics of Close to the Edge. Probably about the same way I did on the liner notes for the remastered version. But I thought, no, I'm going to lose people here. There are people here that don't care about the keys. They just have to know what happened with the keys.
Yeah.
So you have an understanding of what changed or why it may have changed. So I really made sure I pulled it back because I make sure that I'm talking to everybody, not just
the musos.
Musos.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Be interesting, the funny thing about that key change and them performing it with, the original way, it'd be funny if, it's going to be something that just happens and then it's, before you know it, they're 3 songs later in the show. It'd be funny if they did it and then they stopped and went, okay, check that out. Did you catch what we did there? And then they start 10 bars before it and do it again just to point it out because it's going to happen and be gone. And I wonder how many people that even know about it will remember when they go and they're in the moment of watching the show and go, and others will go, and then later, 2 nights later, they'll go, oh, wait, I was going to listen for the, it's kind of a fleeting thing in some ways.
Oh, I know. That's why it's important to me to well, at a show, it's bad enough when people talk around you, but when they're talking to you, I mean, I don't know if I've ever told the story, but it's one of my big regrets is that. So I go see Yes doing Tales from Topographic Oceans at the Forum, and one of my favorite parts is, and they were revealing signs of God when they go into They Move Fast. They move fast. They tell me I'm waiting for that moment. And it's almost here, and somebody's jabbing me. I'm going, what? And he goes, do you have any papers? The girl's like, have any papers? And I'm like, nodding my head back and forth. I missed the moment because he talked because of him. So then someone tried, some stranger tried talking to me, just at random. I'd say, "Don't talk to me," and then I don't want to be rude about it, but this moment is never going to come again, or
right.
may never come again for unless you're seeing both those shows on that tour. On that tour, I saw them both at the Forum and the Long Beach Arena. Yeah. So I got to see him do it the next night. But
I've never, all the concerts I've been to, even during the having fun with that stuff part of my life back then, I've never smoked. I've never done anything before or at a concert because I wanted to remember it. It was never a platform for me to. No, seriously, it's never been a platform for me to go and get buzzed. I could do that anytime, but Yes or Zeppelin or Genesis are here that night, and that's all I want. I want to be 100% present. I've never done that, believe it or not.
Well, maybe it's my generation because I'm a little bit older than you. I mean, I was.
Well, it was around, believe me.
Well, you say wait a second, Dan. You say about close to the edge when you're like 10 or 11 or something. I already was almost in my 20s then. But but
I went to concerts through the 70s and into the 80s, and everyone in any period of time is smoking or dropping something or sucking something or snorting something or something.
Yeah,
and I just never. I just didn't think that was for me. No, I'm not condemning it. But for me, I'm only going to see them this night. I can put the record on and get buzzed to that if I want any night. I want to see it. Mm-hmm. I want to see it and be there and remember it, That's just kind of a dork when it comes to concerts, I guess.
I'm not promoting drugs here by any means, anybody. I'm not promoting drugs, but
Well, he winked. Did you see the wink? No, I'm kidding.
For my generation, I mean, it wasn't a big deal to smoke pot. It wasn't like I go,
I agree.
You go see it again. It wasn't like that. I mean, it was kind of a social thing. So total disclosure here. I always smoked pot at concerts where I could. I mean, there are times where in LA they would start to crack down. I remember going to see Nectar, and it was like it had like people going up and down aisles, like shit, the smoke. And at the Wiltern, when I saw GTR, they had the no smoking policy. So Sydney and I were like, okay. And some guy came in, Usher came out and looked at me like, what are you doing there? But I mean, nowadays I probably don't do it. I mean, I may sneak a toke or two because they have vape pens, so I have to like to light it up. Turn on the lighter. Oh no, I'm just doing my thing.
Eat 8 gummies.
So hopefully we closed on that. So kids, don't do drugs. But pot is illegal in a lot of states. So smoke pot. Don't booze up. Okay.
Right.
That's your tip of Mike Tiano, kids.
Yeah. Bottom line is be responsible. But
be responsible.
But on the topic of concerts, I actually have this. I have like a little story, but first of all, I'll ask you guys. It's related, but what do you guys think of when people sing along to the songs in concert? Like, is it yay or nay, or does it depend on the context?
For me, go ahead, Mike, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Okay, I have a definite opinion on that because I don't mind it as long as they can sing on key. I went to see Simon and Garfunkel here in Seattle for a big reunion tour. Simon and Garfunkel, one of my all-time favorites. I'm getting to see him for the first time. That's when the Everly Brothers opened for them. They had a great band, and I'm sitting there watching it, and then this woman two seats down. She starts singing, "Oh, darkness, my old friend, come again." I mean, she was tone deaf, and I've known people who are tone deaf, and they cannot hold a note to save their lives. But the thing is, she's like blaring my ear, this silence, and I'm trying to, like you were saying earlier about going to concerts. This is my big moment. I'm not going to see Simon Garfunkel again. I'm not going to see this again. And they're singing beautifully on stage, and she's warbling way off key in my ear. So my opinion is that if you're gonna sing, maybe do it kind of quietly, or if it's like a part where the band wants you to sing along with them.
Yeah.
Okay, you sing off key there.
For
then,
me,
okay.
for me, it's like don't sing the whole song where everyone can hear you. If it's like people singing along with the do 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 do, that's one thing. But I don't want to hear someone sing the song. I'm there to see them sing the freaking song.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think? How is it for you? The one who sings with every song? No, I'm kidding. What?
Yeah, it's one thing. It's one thing when you just kind of involuntary. You just find yourself singing along. But the person's like, I know all the words to the song. Listen to this. And
right.
They sing, and all the words. It's like, again, I'm not there to hear you. I'm here to hear them.
Yeah. Steve, do you have a context where it works?
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, well, I feel like since I know some of the songs so well, it just becomes involuntary for me to just try singing along with it, and it's happened at Yes concerts and even at a Chromatics concert I went to where like everyone was singing, so it seemed fine to do. But my story about one of the Yes concerts I went to, this was 6 years ago at the Topographic Drama Tours in San Diego. And during Revealing Signs of God, that's probably my favorite Yes song, just musically and just how it flows.
Yeah.
And so I knew all the lyrics, so I couldn't help but sing along to it. And I didn't think I was singing too loudly, but then somewhere along the line, like in the middle of the song, someone sitting in the row in front of mine turned around and shushed me. It was like, shh. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess maybe
louder than you thought?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So I tried singing more quietly from that point on because I didn't want to rob them of their experience. But
I never heard this story. I never heard this. That's funny.
Yeah, but you were just, it was like, it was involuntary. It just happened. You just started to sing. But it was like, okay, everybody, here I go.
Like I wasn't trying to make a spectacle of myself. I just love the words and want to like sing along to them.
Yeah, and it was cool because they kind of looked at you, and I don't know if they were rude about it, but it communicated to you, oh, maybe I'm singing a little too loud and marring their enjoyment of the show. So that was really good of you to do that for them. Now, if they were jerks, I would just start singing louder. Get this!
Yeah, if they had like, I don't know, cursed at me, but yeah, no, they just shushed me and that was it. So yeah.
That brought back memory about SLO, A Sound of Invisible, where Yes, we're getting back together after the big 9/11 band broke up.
Yeah.
So as you probably know, as you may know, we in the Yes magazine and music. Nick Kachok was music news network. I think we're all handling selling tickets. We just divvied up among the independent fan sites, and so we're getting tickets to the customers at the outside the venue. I said, well, here's what I want to do at the show. When they started to get to the end of your move, I want everyone to stand up and start singing. All we are saying is give peace a chance. I said, wouldn't that blow their minds? And unfortunately, only a few people did that, but that's something I wanted to do. Yeah. I just thought it would be cool that the whole audience kind of stood up and started singing it back at Yes.
That would have been fun.
Might have blown their minds.
Well, we got a few minutes left. I celebrated the 50 years I did an episode with Steve. And did an episode on Drum Talk TV where I actually played all 3 songs, live versions. But I think another fun way would be that I'm gonna go to the bakery and I want to have them make a cake in this shape and put a big 5-0 on top. That's what I'm gonna do. Or maybe
that would be amazing.
Enja could actually probably pull that off.
So, that'd be amazing if they made the cake to where you're looking down on it. As you would be if you were looking down on that. Not exactly like that.
Right. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Any closing nuggets you could give us, Mike, as far as where people can find you, where they can buy your album, all those different things? Go ahead and plug as much as you can.
Okay. They can find me at my local Starbucks, getting a double tall non-fat latte with a Splenda. And all the links are MikeTiano.com. I'll probably be revamping that site very soon. MikeTiano.com has links to everything, and I've got tons of albums sitting here, tons of CDs sitting here in my living room, folks. So if you order one from me through PayPal, I will be glad to autograph it for you. But let me put it back on you guys. I mean, putting you on the spot here. Do you find my album has stayed with you?
Yeah.
Did it have staying power?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Seriously, be honest with me.
Yeah,
You know?
oh, absolutely. And for me, I love the production. That's always something I always listen for as soon as I get something. I love the production because it's a big sound, and I don't mean a big sound where there's just a bunch of reverb, it's all wet and everything. But I mean, it has like a live, full spectrum sound. You know what I mean? And I personally, I love that type of production. You know, my drums, well, not on my little jazz kit, but my main big drum kit has no bottom heads, and they haven't since 1982 because I just love that sound.
Yeah.
So your album hit that for me, even just in the production department. You know, the big sound and the different guitars. And you mentioned earlier that you wanted to make a point of being able to hear everything, and you do. There's great separation between all the different instruments, which is really cool. You know, that's a funny thing about production. You could take one song, as you know, you could take one song, give it to 5 people to even just mix, and then you're going to get 5 completely different results. If the artist isn't there to coach them, you know, everyone kind of has their own sonic vision, if you will, and yours resonates with me because of the separation of the instruments and the big live-ish sound, you know.
Yeah, I had a great mixture with Steve Smith because, I mean, he's worked with like Supertramp and Cheap Trick and Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he's worked with the greats.
So he had a lot of practice working up to getting with you.
Yeah, right, right, exactly. And you got something, Dan, that was really important to me. That the album sounds like a band. I wanted that, even though I may record different instruments at different times, I didn't want it to sound like just, you know, a piecemeal set of
it's very cohesive.
Supporting the song. Yeah. Cohesiveness. So if there's one thing I'd like to say before I go, I mentioned to you that at the very beginning of Triad, I played this guitar, and this is my first real guitar.
Oh wow! From when?
Nice.
I bought it back in 1971.
Wow!
And at Crane's Records in Inglewood, on Nutwood Avenue, and so when I did the video for Triad, I thought it'd be cool for me to be playing this guitar at the very beginning of the song. Yeah, it's not actually on the recording because you know it sounds okay, but it's still playable.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't record with this, but I just wanted to show my Memphis knockoff.
That's nice.
It said Memphis on the headstock here. I put Mott's my logo there, so I just wanted to mention that.
That's a great anecdote. I love that. It's in beautiful shape too. It's like 100 years old.
And you know, it looks like a Gibson Hummingbird. Yeah, and that's why I loved it. So that's why I kept pointing to it during the show.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you.
I just wanted to get that in there because I thought it was a great anecdote. So
definitely, yeah, I love that stuff.
But MikeTiano.com for all things Mike Tiano.
Great.
Hopefully, I'll be offering some artwork, limited artwork as well soon. And I'm even thinking about writing a book about my experiences.
Nice.
So people know the real story of what happened behind the scenes.
That's great. I would love that. I would, definitely.
So those are some of the things I'm working on.
Very cool. Mike, thanks so much for joining us again. And thanks also for being a fan of our show. It means a lot to me, as Stephen knows, and I believe I told you before when we first interviewed you. Notes to the Edge was the very first thing I ever subscribed to when I got a PC back in 95 or 6 or something like that. So I was familiar with your name years before this thing going on now these days in the last 20 years. So
yeah, it's really hitting me too because I think it's Roxy Cook had like a news source where she pulled everything together from all the fan sites.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this. I'm saying Mike Tiano is announcing official Yes World coming. It's like, wow, my God. Yeah, I remember those days.
Ancient. Yeah.
Really, really. So it's nice to know that what I did brought good vibes and positive impact to a lot of fans. So I appreciate those comments. And I always enjoy talking to you guys. It's just nice to sit down and, excuse my friend, shoot the shit with you guys and just talk about stuff. So
absolutely.
I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, we'll have to definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Folks, if you're watching us on the archive on Facebook or live, you can also, if you're a podcast listener, you can follow us on anchor.fm/Yesshift. If you're hearing us only there and you want to see what all this looks like, because we do show video clips, we show art, images, covers, all sorts of things. You can follow us at www.facebook.com/Yesshift. If you have ideas for the show or just want to comment or something, put in your 2 cents, we'll read it. And we read a lot of fan mail on our shows as well. You could do that at yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. And on the anchor.fm/Yesshift channel, you can also donate. I think Steve needs some new underwear. And I think you said you need to buy some milk, right, Steve?
Oh. No, you made that up. But
you can't donate there.
And I have friends that aren't on Facebook. So that's great that you have those other methodologies.
And a YouTube channel.
We're on various... because it gets distributed to various podcast platforms. So if you use like Apple or something, you could just type the show name and people will find us. And yeah, we do have a YouTube channel, like Dad mentioned, which I've been like trickling stuff onto. And
folks, these guys are, I will say this, use this for your promo. Hi, I'm like Tiano. These guys are the yes shit. You should actually say that. Yeah, I love what you guys do. I think you're not the only ones to do what you do. As far as video and all the different topics. So folks, not because I'm just on, but please do follow these guys. They're phenomenal.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for following. And we'll see you soon with more Yesshift. See you soon, folks.